9. Check the radio, pit crew is far from slow. The lights no longer yellow. Ready, steady, go. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 In love with the ride. Burning rubber smells real nice. Fuel it up once or twice. Come on, fast is the way to drive. Crowds all on their feet, not one bothered by the heat. Imagine them in the driver's seat. Checkered flag would be sweet. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 Everybody get ready. On your feet. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Crank it up. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 Crank it up. Oh, it's racing.
Deep within Virginia's beautiful landscapes and land, we now bring you down to Richmond, Virginia, here with Richmond Raceways. Race today, a round of 12 playoffs for GOAT Racing League. It's time to get the action kicked off here and on the show here on Pizza Means TV. Hi everyone, I am the Crusader Chris Shire, joining you guys here today here live on YouTube as we're right now getting ready for the action to settle off here on the Vane track here. This is looking to be a solid coverage race and a very tough one indeed, with 120 laps on the line for 18 of the toughest of the Truck Series drivers. And with that said, of course, it always begins with our track tech talk and our grading order, but we'll start with the grading order to start today. Levi McCarty is going to be our number 1 seed, then number 21 outside of them, and the 70 it'll be Aaron Smith. Hey, row number 2 it'll be Samuel Harrell, and the 43 outside of them, and the number 2 will be Ricky Udding. Row number 3 is Dakota Kramer, and the 42 the outside of them is Aaron Action Jackson, and the number 12. Row number 4 is Bud Shearer, and the 93 outside of them, and the number 5 is Nathan Bogart. Row number 5 is going to be Christoph Hall on the 98 outside of him, and the 97 is Jeff Ramsdale. And row number 6 is Cody Sturge on the 24 outside of them, in the 8th, Maurice Burnett. Row number 7 will pilot down with the number 36 of Richard Crane outside of them, and the number 31, David Pencil Scott. Row number 8 is going to be Charles Van Schaik in the 23, the outside of him, and the 94, Justin Reynolds. Row 9, final starters in the field, Philip Schmitz in the 18, and the final starter today, Russell Ottaway in the 89. Field now set to go for the action at hand here on the short end of the track, 3/4 in length, 0.75 miles in length. This is Richmond, Virginia's Richmond Raceway. D-shaped configuration, tough on its cornering. Watch for the drivers early on to be a little bit loose off with corner number 2 and harder on the gas in corners 4 and 3. But you'll see a lot of times here, they'll really be pushing their limits more often than not on the fuel strategy and the fuel mileage. And that could, in turn, make things a little bit more tricky for them to figure out. You're going to march their way around the track here. Fans all across the nation, across the Virginia landscape, coming wide and out to see these drivers go out of here as we get ready for stage number 1 of our action coverage today. 125 laps to the distance, stage lap at lap 30, next stage 65, then from stage 3, let them go 60 to the distance. That is the race day info here. Also, 1 fast repair, 1 green-white checker, 50% of fuel. So watch for the drivers early on to really conserve and use up what they can to see how the other stages will go against them or how it will fare once more on them. I would say as well that you're going to see a lot of guys trying to be very careful not to bump and bang up too much because they only get one faster pair out on the track today. Off of corner number 4 to the green flag. Restart them up. It's time to go racing with the Go Racing League. Samuel Harrell in the 43 jumping early on into the inside zone. Aaron Smith trying to make Levi McCarty get away from him quickly here as he fights hard for the top spot early on. Fairfield 21 driver trying to take down the gold standard in 70, but there's trouble out of the gate. Cody Sturgill had problems with even more. Whoa, one upside down completely. Maurice Burnett in the 8 upside down on his side of row fair. And David Pencil Scott also involved in the wreck here. Not the exact way to showcase your talent or showcase yourself on the PT Racing TV to start off the show. Let's take a look at the replay. Well, we knew it was going to be short track madness here, and it looks like the 24 Hobbit Machine of Sturgill gets a little too aggressive out of the gate. Maurice Burnett, he gets trapped and then coincidentally just gets thrown in a little mesh and into the fence. He goes for a violent ride there. I'm surprised the truck actually came out as clean as it did, but not the exact way I think he was expecting that to go out already. Looks like just a missed break here. Oh, mistimed a shot. Truck was still dealing with the cold tires, and then knew as soon as he was in trouble, he was in trouble. Well, Field's going to have to kind of regroup and recenter off here, unfortunately. Aaron Smith did take the lead out of the gate, so he will be your new leader. Levi McCarty's going to have to go to the back. They did get at least a lap in before the caution did come out, so that is the way they'll score them. Field gonna double file back up here and now set their way onto the track and get themselves set back to go. Not the start they were looking for out of the gate, not the way they wanted to bring it off the game. Back to the green flag. Stage number 1 continues on. Smith going to take the early advantage out of the start, bring it down the back straightaway with the early leads. The field will move their way on the track here. McCarty drawing up top. Harrell going to the bottom, swings his way around and takes over position, moves to third as now Bud Shearer looks to take on McCarty. McCarty, though, going to do a great job kind of crossing back over through turn 1 back into the fight with Harrell here, not giving him an inch. Maybe only 0.75 miles in length, but again, it's still a short track, and it also makes for some hard racing when you put these trucks into speed. A bit treacherous at times, I would say. A bit hard to kind of deal with and a bit frustrating to deal with as well. I personally have never had very much success here at Richmond when I'm out here racing, but I can tell you, a lot of guys always tell me to focus in on one thing, and that's just timing and key strategies here. David Pencil Scott yet again into the wall, protection off of turn number 2, and the App Auto Parts 31 Tundra goes shifting back into the outhouse. He's got a lot of work to do on that 31 to get it dialed in after his little collision for us on the caution last time out. You can see the way they just kind of move into these corners here. Again, you got that progressive end banking here to the front straightaway. You got that tight ended off of the back half. That's a flat surface. It's extremely difficult to really get a good run and a good charge here when you don't really have much in the way of room to miss. Corner off there, Justin Reynolds in 94 gets a little tap from the number 5, Nathan Bogart, as Bogart tries to bring the big old 5 Ford F-150 up ahead to the field. The Dark Horizon machine currently in a bit of a strangled up spot, a bit of a tough little edge here. That's right behind him, Charles Van Schaik and Richard Crane have a little tussle of speed and endurance. The Roush SpongeBob schemed up 23 F-150 against the Coca-Cola 36 of Richard Crane. And Crane is not coming out clean in this one either. The right side of his truck damaged up a bit. Looks like he might have suffered some hits there from earlier on. Aaron Axe Jackson currently qualified 6th. He currently stuck in 6th right now, and he's not doing too bad for himself either. Seems to me like he's a little bit more focused on kind of maintaining distance and drawback for early. Looking to get it really fired up later on. Levi McCarty, though, you know, I hate to tell him, but driving as hard as he is right now, I think even catching Aaron Smith, Smith may just end up playing him for a fool here because he's got to be careful. Smith has a really good and a bad habit of literally just kind of waiting around, letting drivers overuse their equipment, and then as soon as they catch up to him, he just kind of runs off into the shadow realm. Not very many drivers have been able to take down the gold standard himself and really set him apart. To do that, you really got to really know how he works, his strategy, and how to take him down. And that's extremely difficult to do with these 550 horsepower package trucks when you're on a bit of a burnt end turn in a corner that these tires are still dealing with. Thankfully, the rubber is starting to be laying down on the track, so that could in turn make things a little bit harder to really get that bottom lane kicked in when you got a fresh set. Down a burnt set, though, that could actually slow them down just enough to where they can get a little bit more control and kind of dictate around the face as they're going forward. Jeff Ramsdale is currently 1 spot up against the 8 spots up with Justin Reynolds in the 94 ahead of him. We always said here on Pizza Racing TV, when in doubt, you got a chance and you know how to do it, it's time to start using that old bumper. There's a reason why they got fenders on these things. Many still criticize the bump and run. My opinion, it's a fair move. It's a fair play. If you can use it well and use it wisely, I say there is no trouble using it. No harm or foul in it. That is the whole point of NASCAR racing. To me, it gets egregious is literally when you just try to right hook or left hook somebody to get them out of your way. That's when I say that's a bit too far. A good bump in the back, though, and I don't think it's too much to ask for. But in order to do that, you kind of got to catch them first. 70 probably listened in saying, yeah, you're not catching us. McCarty right now trying to figure out a way to release himself from this genjutsu that he puts himself into. He thinks Smith is too far ahead, but yet he can still maintain a good speed and good crawling distance, as he is still hanging on there and still pushing his limit up. Guys right now, it looks like they're trying to focus in on a strategy, trying to get used to the track. And again, that's where it gets very difficult once you fall into that single file line groove. The 93 RBS, a Bud Shear right now going to the middle side. Bottom lane goes the 43. Here comes Harrell looking for a clean pass. Looks like he got a good drive off on the inside. Now looking for the momentum. It's the downside, though. Turn 2 is extremely difficult without that outside wall embankment. If you can't catch that turn just right, you lose a lot of it in the turn. Thankfully, the Harrell is smart enough to know. Driving in hard, force him up. He does, but Brad Shearer does not give an inch. Doesn't give an inch. Caution is out. That is looking, well, a little bit early for a stage break. I don't know what went wrong down there, if anybody had gotten into a bad situation or whatnot, but yeah, I am not seeing any caution debris. I am not seeing any trucks wrecked out on the track, so I presume this will be one of our famed ghost cautions. We don't know where it came from. We don't know what happened. So while the guys currently have to get settled back down, get things kind of clipped around here, we'll just take a look in now on our tracks and our schemes today. We saw a lot of the old school paints. Of course, that Rouse truck got a little old school in the SpongeBob scheme. I don't think we can go any more old school than a nice little solid Interstate battery style up scheme of the 18 Philip Schmitz. It's one thing I always love how cool this scheme is the fact that it's just so elegant. It's electrifying, no pun intended. It just has those sharp little edges and cornered off spikes, and then of course the Interstate battery is kind of bolded in there. So yeah, I don't think there's any scheme out there that, besides maybe the Earnhardts and even the Allison schemes, really can compare to just what that look and that special feel is. Even Gordon's scheme, I would say. And then Dakota Kramer bringing out the OnlyFans paint scheme on that 42. Definitely a bit of a wild look on that one, I'll give him. 5 laps to go before stage 1 comes to an end here. We'll bring him off the corners here through turn number 2. And right now, McCarty, he's paying close attention to the gold standard himself, Aaron Smith. And the reason why we gave him the nickname the Gold Standard is because that 70 is always painted in some kind of yellow or gold, and he always runs as hard as he drives, so we gave him the nickname the Gold Standard for that. Let's see if he can live up to it here in the final ends of stage 1. But Shearer forcing the 21's hand a little bit. Smith going to like every minute of it. Knows he's going to have less company to deal with, but Shearer's not going to lay off. Big hunk of speed coming from the 93. He moves his way ahead of the 21. As McCarty looks like he may have overdone it here a little too much in this stage on the tires. Shearer looking strong off the exits. He's got a lot of power on that right front, and it's digging into the inside of the corner, banking, able to drive into that 70 here. But the Smith camp will not let him off. Gets ahead just a little bit more. On board here with the famed 43, number 7, Samuel Harrell right now currently looking to try to hang in there and muscle his way back up into the positions. Both drivers right now close into the gas, close in the field. The GP.com machine looking to hang on a little bit longer here. Christoph Hall in the 98 also coming out for another spell, another whisk in the Home Depot Husky 98. Bit of a nice looking scheme on that one. Actually kind of gives me a little bit of that next gen cup car vibe on it with that side logo. I kind of like it, to be honest. 29 laps in. We're coming up on lap 30 now. Shearer opening up for a little bit of a run on Smith. Smith trying to hang on. One more lap remains. Shearer is closing in quick, and he's got a big gap closed off, but he just can't get that bumper right where he wants it to make the move. Whether it's to pass him clean or just to give him a slight little nudge, that's on him, but he's not going to get him this time. Off on corner number 3 to turn number 4, and Aaron Smith will take home stage number 1. Very solid end there for the 70 camp here. That will give him the stage winner. More points added on to the driver for the round of 12. He's currently looking to try to add another piece of mantle to his collection. And not a far drive off from his hometown in South Carolina either, here in Richmond, Virginia. So I got a feeling this is kind of a home field advantage for him and home field for his team today. While entering into today, race fans here, Aaron Smith already locked into the next round with a win last time out, so he's going to the round of 8 next go. Bud Shearer, Charles Van Schaik, Aaron Jackson, Ricky Utting, Christoph Hall, CJ Sturgill, and Ethan Bogart currently on the top. But for Bogart and Reynolds, they're on the bottom lane. For the bubble drivers, Reynolds, Justin Reynolds, Sammy Harrell, Jeff Ramsdell, Levi McCarty. It's do or die time here in this race. They need to gain maximum amount of traction, maximum amount of points if they wish to survive. Off of pit road here, it is the 70 that's going to take it. Levi McCarty going to get a better pit stop out than Bud Shearer there, so he'll beat him out there. And he needs it too. McCarty, remember I just said a second ago, he's on the very bottom of the round of 12. He cannot make any mistakes here. He has to stay focused on his ins and his outs. And hopefully he don't crash himself out and get himself kind of stuck into that mess here. Via going to bring their way around here into the distance, draw them back through. We'll currently see them all wrapped in again. The number 2, Ricky Utting, looks like unfortunately earlier on found himself in some trouble, some spots. That in turn brought the caution out. Still not totally sure though why exactly it had come out or where and when it was supposed or when it was needed to come out, but that's got to be on the point at this point. Also want to say as well to everyone that is tuned on in with us here, race fans, once again, we appreciate you. We thank you for coming on board. We love seeing you guys. We love hearing from you guys. Comment down below where you're at, where you're talking to us from, and if you're ready for the action to keep on going, let us know. All right, bring him around off the distance here. We're going to bring him back through the corners into the Joe McCarty here. Taking the top side, Bud Shearer, a little questioning whether or not he's supposed to go there too. Looks like McCarty and Smith decided to choose their lanes and choose their lines. That's how it's going to play out. Green flag back on out. And Shearer probably just questioning himself what the heck he was even supposed to do there. He didn't even know where to go or when to get going, I think. Marching him down to the distance zone right off of the corners. Exits here at turn number 3 and 4. Christoph Hall moving back into the back here with the top 5. He's got everybody now lined in his sights. No driver is safe here. Jeff Ramsdell, certainly not one of them either. Rear end sliding out of him completely in turn number 1. And it's out completely in turn 2. Into the wall goes the 97. Caution. Caution lights flag on out for the 97 Jeff Ramsdale. A huge tail whip and a smack there. And you were watching that right as it went down the same time we witnessed it here. But here's what happened here in turn one to give you a better look at it. Overshoots the corner. Then has to brake hard. Gets it into the yellow strip. But as he came off turn two, trying to keep the throttle and the RPMs up. He was already loose. Slammed the brake, but it was too little, too late. Yeah, Ramsdale definitely cannot be a happy camper inside that cockpit right now, just thinking to himself, what the heck did I do to get into this position? You see right there, there's a rear end, slides out. The saves are good here, but he's still not fully good. Tires are still cold. He's trying to get it cleared out. See, he's trying to get back on the gas. Slams the wall hard there, but thankfully the truck is good enough to at least return to action. Although I would think he probably is looking at trying to get a few things of tape on that truck, I would say. Probably maybe a few fenders put back together. And I'm pretty sure I heard one of the motors go on one of these guys. I don't think it was Ramsdale back there. Never mind, I have to eat my own words. Ramsdale motor has just gone kaput and it blew up. He's hoping for some help here. Oh, look at this, David Scott, look at this. Wow, that right there is good sportsmanship from the 31. He's going to push the 97 into pit road, race fans. He wants to race them a fair way and hard as can be, and he's going to get him a good push in and maybe be able to push a little bit more momentum closer up to the field, but this is going to definitely be a turn point for Ramsdale. He cannot have mistakes like this, especially not what he's got on the line. Championship implications, a chance to make it into the round of 8. These races are not going to get any easier, and they're going to be a lot more difficult to have to worry about and focus on. By the way, Aaron Smith right now currently, he's got 7 wins out of the bunch. Plus his last one, I believe now he's at 8 in total. I think he's at 8 or 9 in total now, I think. I'm not even completely sure. Probably by the end of the season, he probably try to go for the late great Jeff Gordon or Dale Earnhardt Sr. or Richard Petty in terms of wins in a single season. I believe Earnhardt at most had 10. I know Petty had 13. And then Gordon, I believe, had 13 as well. So I think that's tied for the most of all time. Somebody can correct me there if they want, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Carol Stevens saying, Steve here. So she's talking South Carolina. Carol, great to have you on board and great to have you listen in with us here on the show. Coming off down off turn 4 here. We're back to the green. It's off and running. Down to the back set, chair into the corners we go. Bud Shear is already lined up on the 70 of Aaron Smith. He's looking to try to keep him close inside, but that's not going to be the case here. More trouble off of turn number 3. And it appears it's going to be the 42 Dakota Kramer on the OnlyFans machine and the 89 at Russell Autoway having some problems. Both drivers getting caught off guard here. We'll take a look at the P2 Mr. Replay. Kramer dived in, and this is where you don't want to try to dive in too quickly here. The Sweetwater 89 gets completely jashed in. I think for Kramer, I think he was expecting the 89 to slow down just a little bit more. I think he was expecting Autoway to actually brake a little harder because of where he was at, but I think he forgot the rules of a short track. The rule is you take what you can get, and you give what you can take. And unfortunately, it wasn't quite what Kramer had in mind. Definitely a bit of a tough break there, a bit of a collision course for bad news, but thankfully they're going to recenter him off. No problem there, Carol. So the field now going to have to recenter off once again here, and again more chaos ensuing and just a little bit more of a bit of a crazy race here. Well, right now, the way I'm looking at it, focus and determination is really what will bring out the best of these drivers and bring out the best of these guys here. Because right at this moment, they're struggling to remain on the move and on the focus end. Back onto the green flag restart zone. We'll get him back up and running. So let's see what happens from here. Well, it's been a hot battle here for second, not so much for first. As first pretty much just had to play defensive the whole time and stay in the gas and right where they need to. But for the battle for second, well, let's just say it swapped out about 3 or 4 times already. And now we had a third driver in that lineup, Christoph Hall, the 98, moving his way into the chains. And trouble again. Goshen flies out on the track. Go to Kramer, the number 42. Yet again, trouble seemingly in turn number 3. That will bring us to the PTM instant replay. We'll take another look at it. He got caught into a 3-wide tandem here off 1 and 2, but here's what happened down in 3 and 4. Well, that's the second time he's ran into somebody entering in that corner. And this time it was the 31 there of David Scott. So unfortunately, David Pencil Scott suddenly kind of making a bit of a spot on Kramer's list if I had to guess as another guy that he might need to look at. Looked like David tried to get a little bit tight in the corner, ended up going wide, way too far. Kramer tried to go down, and, well, you can see the end result. Well, there is good news to all this, at least, is that we are still only a chunk into this race here. Well, for those that are tuning in right now with us here for the first time or have never been with us before, first off, thank you so much here for coming on down here. Also, if you guys would and could, be sure to give a like and a follow up here and subscribe on the YouTube and the Facebook, and also check out our Twitter, Instagram handles as well. Always posting the latest info and stuff when you can here. So Christoph Hall intervening between McCarty and Shearer. Shearer actually, I believe, went into pit road a little bit earlier than I think most were expecting. He went down into 45 here, so he is on a fresher set of tires. I can tell you what he's already up to. What he's trying to think about and what he's trying to plan on is that fresher set of tires will allow him to catch on up and really get around some of these guys, kind of push his limit up a little bit more on some of them. But the downside to that move is that it doesn't necessarily work if you can't get by drivers. And the problem right now is when you're under the pace lap, under that pace again, you're really kind of restricted and kind of struggling to make ends meet if you don't find a way around them. As we near the halfway marker, though, we've got 5 laps remaining here. Or excuse me, I believe 10 laps actually. Yep, clarification, 10 laps left to go. My apologies. 10 laps left to go. Can Aaron Smith find a way to keep Christoph Hall and the rest of them behind? We're about to find out. Green flag back out in the air. And Sammy Harrell, a little bit of trouble off turn 2. Cold tires definitely getting the better of him there. He'll try to shift his way back in traffic. Cody Sturgill trapped in the mix. 4 wide, nearly 3 wide down. 3 wide clearing up. Bud Shearer on the outside. Oh, he goes for broke. He's not laying out here. He's going for a moment now. He gets a great jump and a great charge on the outside. He is moving the chains. This is exactly what he wants now, is to keep moving ahead of everybody and not worry about the rest. He's trying to get to the front. These guys behind right now look like they may be trying to team up just a little bit just to get to that 70 of Smith. Drafting is going to be a very tough factor though, because again, it's a short track, but if you can try to increase the airflow around your truck, you can then increase the speed and endurance on the straights. Think of it kind of like a dragster. The more down on the track and the more centered you are, the faster you become. And Christoph Hall and Levi McCarty seem to be almost well aware of that here. Smith just trying to keep them back behind him. We're down to 6 laps remaining. Nathan Bogard, the number 5, currently going right up ahead of Charles Van Schaik here as the 23 continues to move his way to the chains. Off from the distance down in the back straightaway, though, you can see the gap starting to form. The 70th Smith looks like he's trying to now increase momentum, increase the leverage. He knows he's got a good lead on him, but just needs to keep it focused and stay on his mark. Aaron Action Jackson, top 5 bracket right now for the Jackson 12. Trying to keep his Mobile 1 Toyota Tundra swimming ahead. But the 94 of Justin Reynolds not making it easy for him. Especially not either when another RBS driver comes flying in from behind you. Flying in like a kamikaze mission. Here comes the 93 of Bud Shearer. Fresher side tires and a stronger right front. More grip for him. More speed to him. And he's using all of it. But now he's trapped between the two. Between Reynolds and Harrell. Gets around and at least Reynolds. But now trying to get to Harrell here. Harrell desperately needs to keep the pressure on and keep himself in contention with this championship hunt. He's currently in 10th position right now, and if he does not get a good finish here, this could be the end of his playoff hopes. He's well aware of that, and he's currently just fighting for everything he's got, trying to stay focused in. Reynolds back down on the bottom, looking for the chute down on the 24. Sturgill gonna go hanging in there. The Hobbit 24, Sturgill right now going right in for Bro, going in for the kill switch, but we've got 1 lap remaining. Time running out here. Aaron Smith, though, time is on his side today. Another stage, another strong position. Smith is going to bring home stage number 2. He is your stage winner. Smith right now probably just a little bit more excited now, knowing he's pretty much kind of locked in with pretty much house money at stake and just kind of more points for his playoff hopes alive. The harder he races, the more it gets competitive for these guys to have to try to catch him. They're well aware of that, but that's the downside to it. Time to take the Tower of Doom off for a little bit. We'll bring up the top clicker. Let's see where we're at and where we're in position. Impressive out of the gate yet again, just to see how far and how quick things completely just chipped on a dime. McCarty right now hoping to get a great pit stop out, hoping for some luck. Oh, but look at this. Christoph Hall and Bud Shearer are going to beat them out. This could get interesting. McCarty trying to hurry. He couldn't get to Smith in time. And how about this? Christoph Hall, he's going to be your new leader. Man, you want to talk about pit stops there. He was not even there for that long. Took 6.43 seconds to get in and out. Aaron Smith, he stayed in there the full time. He went all 4 tires. All 4 and all fuel. And right now, everyone ahead of him, they went in for just fuel, and I believe maybe at the best right side tires. I don't know about, but I don't even know if that's even going to be enough. That is a very, very bold move and a very risky move, if you ask me, to be able to try to put that up for grabs and knowing 60 laps to the distance. However, I think their strategy is they're going to be trying to lock horns, kind of lock up everybody with those cautions. So if those cautions do come out, that means it's even more tough for Smith and the other guys that took 4 sets to get around the track. Carol Stevens saying, I've never heard of Hollywood, South Carolina. To be honest, Carol, I've never even heard of it either, but I do know there are some Hollywood names out in the world, in the States as well. But I can tell you all of them off the top of my head. Well, Bud Shearer, again, really his strategy was kind of coincided. He wanted to stay out as long as he could and went in for a very unique strategy there. He went on a lap 45 originally to get to get all fours and some fuel, so it must have been a big thing there. Carol saying must be in the upstate. Upstate South Carolina? Yeah, I probably could. I'm not completely sure. I'm not gonna lie, I live in Iowa, and there's some towns I've never even heard of, or I didn't even think even existed. Like even we've got some town names that are actually named after the states. Like you're gonna think I'm crazy when I say this, but we got a place called Nevada. It's spelled like Nevada, the state, but the way we say it is Nevada. I don't know why we say Nevada, Iowa. It's Nevada. When everyone else says Nevada, Iowa, but when we clarify it to them, they always give us the same look. I'm pretty sure you're gonna give us right now. It's like, just trying to figure out how did that even work. But anyway, we're gonna get them ready to go here. Down off of turn number 3, down turn number 4 here. We're gonna set them off in the distance. Off of corner 4, Christoph Hall's got the chance of a lifetime, and he's looking to make the use of it. Christoph with a win here will lock himself into the next round, but he's got some work to do. And, well, I'm not sure what these boys' strategy was, but apparently Smith just does not give a hoot. He goes completely from 6th to 2nd in less than a lap. Oh, my word. Richard Crane, 36, able to regroup his 36 machine. The Coca-Cola scheme is okay. But right now, your battles for the race lead. Bud Shearer is your new leader, now dealing with the pressure from the 70. I think Christoph was trying to get some laps led and ended up actually kind of backfiring on him because he only got about 1 or 2. A couple of them on the stage end there from the caution. Jeff Ramsdale in the 97 fighting back quickly in the DuPont machine thanks to that little help he got from David Scott earlier. I think that's what finally got him kind of at least a chance to at least be able to fight for this here. He's looking good. Yeah, Carol, if you've ever seen the broadcast before, we've dealt with Smith before plenty of times. That's nothing new to us there, but he can wheel them. And he doesn't just do it on asphalt. Get under. Oh, speaking of old short track racing habits, we got one thrown there. The bump and run, and it was a little too hard for Sturgill to handle. A bump and a run. Smith takes the lead, but for the story is the 24 Cody Sturgill slammed in turn number 4 into the wall protection, and the Hobbit has been dethroned again, unfortunately. Looks like Levi McCarty there, unfortunately, got a little too aggressive entering into that corner. And there it is, right there. That's what we talked about. Although right here you can see Sturgill looked like he was trying to save it, but carried too much momentum. Whoa, what? And Sammy Harrell, I think, has just lost his entire round of playoffs here with whatever the heck I just witnessed. That does not look good. There's a clip. Watch the 43, though. Even Christoph Hall actually gets clipped in there, too. Harrell gets trapped. Look, Christoph also got hit there. And I think Christoph was trying to actually get him off there. Sammy didn't want to wait. I mean, I don't blame him, but I mean, I would have at least tried to give him a hand there. But that, at least let him try to give you a hand there, I would say. But that's definitely not going to be the case here, unfortunately. So what a tough break there. One more look at it. We got to look on that 89 here. Watch on the top middle of your screen, actually. See, there goes Christoph. Gets tagged as well. It looked Well, I don't know if Crane got him or maybe he just spun himself out. Kind of hard to tell from down there. Either way, a lot of drivers involved in this one. A lot more than we usually see, to be honest with you. Goat Racing League drivers are usually pretty clean, pretty obscene from that, but these playoffs are making it that much more aggressive and more difficult to get a round. So now the field going to get restructured out, re-racked, restacked, and all that here. A very wild final stage already. Just kind of getting up on the bankings here, on the control. Double filed in back yet again here. We've got 45 laps remaining to the distance. Aaron Smith is now back in the lead once again. Can anybody stop him? Green flag back on out. Bouncing them down through the exits into the corners right now. Here we go. Philip Smith in the 18 and Charles Van Schaik. We haven't even talked about them all day long. Now coming up ahead with Nathan Bogart and David Pencil Scott right in front of them. Some new faces trying to breathe some new life into this race. As they continue to move the chains and move their way around. Oh no, look out! Slammed in there. David Pencil Scott tight off of turn 2. And Philip Smith completely dishing it right at him there. But Cher right now having some company coming up broad. Levi McCarty here is looking to try to punch his way in. He needs a strong finish here. He is currently on the bubble. And he is in a 12-point deficit. He needs to either win this or he needs to get maximum amount of points. That's the only way he's going to survive in the entering of the next round of racing for the playoffs. There's one thing I have noticed too with these playoff races is that it just seems like the more we get in deeper to the season, the more it gets even harder to control your temper, control your aggression, and these guys seem to be well aware of that. I'm not saying that the aggressiveness level hasn't always been a little bit more chaotic and a little bit of craziness when the playoffs begin, but I just feel like it gets even worse. Battle back here for the second spot. Jackson now throwing it on the line here against McCarty. McCarty there right back on the top. championship implications on hold and in the books right now for these guys. Aaron Jackson, he needs more points to lock himself in. He's not out of the woods yet. He's just trying to keep a good position out. McCarty, though, does not want to leave off. He doesn't want out of this one just yet. He's going for broke. Another crossover in the works. Look at him driving to the inside there. Jackson side by side, battling back and forth between him and McCarty. McCarty can't get the run on the outside. Jackson had the advantage. And you can just hear the roar and the power and the bending of these sheet metals and these engines being put on full use. Charles Van Scheidt, Dakota Kramer, I'm not even sure how those two have been able to stay out of harm's way or problematic zones here in this final stage as well as they have, considering both guys kind of found themselves trapped between that and then some here in the last couple of stages here. Justin Reynolds, the 94, also been hanging around with the RBS crew and working well with Bud Shearer when he needed to, but sadly for him, his season not looking too good in terms of the next round, but he could be saving something for these final 30 laps. He is currently trapped on the bubble with Nathan Bogart being right up ahead of him. And Bogart, right at the moment anyway, is actually not even with us today. I believe I'm reading that right. So with this, or excuse me, Bogart, well, looking right at him. What am I wrong with me? Well, we're on board there with Bogart in the 5. That is who we're looking at right now. I apologize in advance to Bogart. But yeah, him and Reynolds close in position. And Reynolds, you can already see, just jumping right up ahead of him. So he needed to do that as soon as he could to keep up. There's a lot of storylines to keep track of and keep cover of, guys. So I apologize. It's kind of hard to keep track of some of them. There's one thing that's not hard to keep track of is where Aaron Smith is. The gold standard himself is currently just binding in and delivering the goods. Knows that this race will set him up for the ultimate playoff contention. Down to the final 30 laps now. Look at this. McCarty and Jackson still going at it. McCarty, ooh, oh, he thought about the bumper that he gave to Sturgill. I think that's what backed him off there. Line back out in the distance here. They are staying in it, doing what they can. Carol saying you're doing great. You talking about the broadcast or you talking about a driver down there? If you're talking about us, we really appreciate you here. Cody Sturgill, 24, off track. He's done for the day. He's gone to pit road. The truck is not going to go anymore. Russell Ottaway and the number 89 currently trying to get up there to Nathan Bogart. That's the last thing Bogart wants to be thinking about, is literally losing another position over, knowing how close the points are, knowing how close he is to taking down the round of 8 and making it, or taking down the round 12, excuse me, making it to the round of 8. But Reynolds is not exactly going to lay off now. Sammy Harrell currently, after his little hiccup there on the on that first lap of this final stage, kind of gets sets off into the wall there on the top. now sees everyone move ahead of him as a lap traffic, but the 94, Justin Reynolds, he is now looking to punch his way in. He's got around Charles Van Shyke. Shyke right now really doesn't have anything to lose. He just needs to stay focused to stay out of trouble. Reynolds has moved the chains. Once again, now into the 7th spot. He's 9 spots up today from his hard racing moves and his hard racing abilities. Jeff Ramsdell as well. Talking about a guy that literally got sent out, around. He got into damaged position earlier. Slammed the inside wall. Then came back and fought with scratch and claw with everything he's got. Downside is now he's got company kind of brewing his way. It's time for the Old fans 42 Dakota Kramer to move his way into the chains. Levi McCarty enters into pit road. He will be the first to blink. Yeah, we forgot all about that too. Pit stop's going to be extremely crucial here. When and where to go in at the right time, it depends on really the driver's keen aspects and perspiration. Samuel Rell, GP.com, number 43. Definitely making it just a little bit more difficult, though, and really putting the pressure on. Ramsdale, though, oh, slammed it right off of turn number 2. There, both drivers connecting again, and Ramsdale losing ground and traction as he gets into it slightly over the 43. I'm not sure if Harrell knew where he was at or where he was going, but that was a huge hit and cost him positions. And the worst part for Nathan Bogart is that gave Reynolds more room to work with. Carol Stevens saying, do they have the view from inside the car? So, I'll go ahead and I'll show you what they got for the view inside the car. We'll go on board here with Reynolds. This is what they see, except for the overlay there. This is what they see in the car. And then they can actually either have a triple monitor screen that allows them to see all 3 directions, or they can do a button like we have on this thing where they actually can just take a look to the left and right and kind of move around the car as much as they have to. But the views you're seeing, like right now, this is all us. They can't see this. They only are seeing what's inside that field of vision and that field of view. And that's all they've got. They don't have what we got. Bud Scherer also in the 93 RBS now. He's got company coming up. Dakota Kramer is moving the clock forward, and he is looking extremely strong here on the last bit of laps. But he still knows pit stops need to be made. I think at this point, a lot of these guys are kind of looking in at that fuel run more than anything. I don't think they're really worried about tires. I think they'll worry about more later when they need to on that. Bud Scherer and Justin Reynolds here, they are currently clipping closer and closer together. Scherer has kind of a tough little predicament to deal with. Does he go for stage points and increase his chances to make it easier in the next couple rounds, or does he work with the 94 of Justin Reynolds, his teammate? To me, if I was him right now, I would try to stay on that top 5 and get the max amount of points I can get for what it's worth. Help my teammate out and get him into the next round. That would be my predicament, my goal. And I think that might be what he's going to do here. 4.5 seconds currently ahead. Carol, yeah, it is. It's a bit crazy. It is awesome to see, though. I'll tell you. If you ever are into anything that involves racing, man, I always feel like iRacing is a must-go-to. Yeah, it is a bit of an investment, I will say that. But for what you get from that investment, I think it's worth it, in all honesty. You get great, there's some really awesome people in this community and some really awesome people to really race with and go head-to-head with. I do it constantly when I can, when I'm not broadcasting. 14 laps remaining here for the GOAT Racing League Truck Series drivers here. So much on the line again. Round of 12. Implications to enter into the round of 8. Guys getting closer and closer to really the end of their season, their hopes, their dreams. And now Levi McCarty here, currently a lap down, currently trying to get his lap back into the round. Reynolds, he'll get around Kramer, Jackson, and Smith here. Jackson actually kind of find the fine line, battle of the errands here. Smith and Jackson here. Carol, it's very close to the real deal. It's not exactly the real deal, but it's a very close imitation of it. Actually, some of these cars too, like you'll see, like the Global Mazda MX-5s, I've even been told like are very similar in terms of feel and how they race. Like almost to the point that if you actually have like a motion simulator, you got the exact feeling that they would be on an actual road course. But for a video, yeah, but for a simulator, man, yeah, it is very much like the real deal in my opinion. It also the tempers are the real deal too, if I must say. I've had my fair share of times. With 9 laps remaining now, about to be turning into 8 laps, folks. I am kind of watching this as Aaron Smith looks to be working as a fuel mileage strategy. Oh yeah, he's definitely going for fuel. You can hear him clutching the truck in. Listen in carefully as I go on board with him. We're going to listen into that truck. He's going to clutch it here. You don't know what that means. He's trying to save fuel. So as soon as he clutches in, he removes all power from the engine and all power from the fuel lines, intervening and entering into that truck. Which in turn allows him to gain most traction and most amount of fuel you can put into the truck. Because again, once that power cuts off, you don't have to worry about the truck is consuming and absorbing more. The fuel mileage runs are extremely difficult to work and extremely difficult to master. Garrett's pulling for Ottaway here to pull this one off. Well, Russell Ottaway in that 89 hasn't exactly left the scene yet. By the way, he's 10 spots up, so I gotta give him credit. He's the hard charger award winner today with 10 spots up, unless Reynolds can top him, which he has 12 spots in. But considering Ottaway was in 18th when he started this race, I mean, no offense to Reynolds, but man, I gotta give the credit's due to Ottaway there. Well, Reynolds must have heard that and he said, "Oh yeah, well then how about this? I'll throw you a bone right back there, sir." Comes right on the inside. Kramer letting him on by. Reynolds is now 13 up, so okay, he's technically the hard charger with how many positions he's got, and he's currently looking like he wants to finish this one out on a high note. We're down to the final 5 laps. Smith trying to hold on. Final 5, high 5 in the air. And he's not clutching anymore, so that tells me one thing. Smith is watching and reading the fuel mileage. He's got enough. Charles Van Schaik right now looking to add on to his points tally and looking to add on 2 points he can use in the next set of races. Line him off here with only 2 laps remaining. Here we go. White flag high in the air for the 70. Aaron Smith has absolutely all but dominated this race. The gold standard will not settle for anything less. And some drivers will be going home from the playoffs empty-handed off of corner number 4. Smith wins another one here at Richmond. Jackson will go second. Third goes to Justin Reynolds. And I believe that should be enough to start punching his way into the next round. But for Mr. Aaron Smith, well, he did not leave anything out. He takes this one home. Man, what a performance. What an absolute drive here. An absolutely wonderful race here from these guys. They gave it all they had and then some and put on a great showcase and put on a great battle here. And they never gave up and they never gave in. And to me, that is the code to fight to survive. Aaron Smith's going to be a race winner here. Carol Stevens likes it, said it was a good one. You think we can agree there? Well, before we exit tonight, though, there's a couple things left to do. Let's intervene to our race results here at Richmond Raceway for Goat Racing League, and this one was a good showing out of everyone here. Aaron Smith coming away with the win. Aaron Jackson strong ending up second. Justin Reynolds going third. Charles Van Schleck's going to take it home a top 5, another fourth for him. Bud Shearer strong throughout, takes fifth, sixth to Russell Ottaway, and Carroll, yep, did good as well. He managed a good comeback there. Maurice Burnett going to go 7th, 8th to Jeff Ramsdale. Levi McCarty goes 9th, and Christoph Hall will be top 10. Some drivers, though, are not going to be too happy about this one, as they're going to be having to go home empty-handed in the playoffs. Kind of listening to those top 3 drivers right now here. He intervenes into the brackets and guts from the bubble to the top 8 here. Ladies and gentlemen, Justin Reynolds will be joining me now here onto the call here. Reynolds, congratulations on that top 3 here as you muscle your way into that round of 8 here. Putting up a great little battle off and a fight there for you and the RBS crew. How did it feel out there, sir?
Man, it felt pretty good there. I'm not real big on the short tracks. Well, I should say I'm not very good at them. But after it was early in the run, we had a caution, and I was able to sit there behind all the quicker guys up front, and I kind of picked up on a couple things. I was really overdriving the front, the entry of the corner, and I kind of backed it down. I saved the right front as well by doing that. But anyways, yeah, I mean it was pretty good. I can't complain about a P3. I'm happy with it, and I'm pretty sure we locked ourselves into the round of 8, so that's awesome as well.
For sure there now. Hey man, I gotta ask you, with the way things are going and the way you are looking in at the next set of races and the rounds here, how much of a struggle and how tougher is it going to be to kind of keep the pressure on and stick into this round of 8 to enter into that final round of 4?
Yeah, I'm not even 100% sure where all we're going, but we're gonna do a little bit of practicing, and we're gonna try to come out here and give these boys all they can handle.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Reynolds, just come away third today, sir. Anybody thank you for this one?
Yeah, just everybody who puts this on, you broadcast, man, you do a great job, and RBS, man,
RBS, indeed. They're going to come home with another position and another keeps in the playoffs. Reynolds, congratulations on the third today, sir.
thank you, sir.
Justin Reynolds, ladies and gentlemen, going to take home another solid day of racing here. But as we always say, the action is never out unless Aaron Jackson's in town. He brings it home to us in second place. And Aaron Jackson, congratulations on that one here, buddy. You had to fight, scratch, and claw this one out, but you managed to move your way through the chains late into the final stage. What was it like out there?
Yeah, it was a little rough. The racing, for the most part, at least up at the front, was fairly clean. I don't know what was going on in the back of the field, but it became a fuel race that last stage, and so it was a lot of letting out early, clutching a little bit, and just trying to have enough fuel to make the end of it. I saw Levi pitted, from P2, and didn't have enough fuel, and it was rough. I mean, it was a rough race with the fuel.
It was indeed. Now I know definitely had a long little cumbersome spot there. You kind of found yourself in, getting trapped into the mix, and then having to figure out everything else. But for you and this crew, I mean, did this did this kind of settle the score for you and the team to kind of get ready to set up for the next set of races? Because there's a lot of tough tracks still to come and a championship on the line, sir.
Yeah, I got to see how Ricky ended up. He unfortunately got disconnected there. I haven't looked yet to see if he's going to make the top 8. I think he will, based on where some of the other people finished. Charles will make it, obviously. So it'd be nice to have Fastlane have a few drivers, in the final 8 and possibly in the final 4. So we just keep pushing to help each other out as much as we can, practicing and stuff, and see how it turns out on race day.
For sure there. Well, nevertheless, though, as you bring this one home in a second, anybody want to thank you for this one, Jackson?
Yeah, I thank all the Fastlane team, which is Brandon Burkhart, Ron Walsh, who's in the hospital. Hopefully he's feeling a little better. Um, John Vanderwall, Ricky Udding, and Charles Van Schaik. And my mom and dad, who watch every week, and Charles for putting on the league, and then all the sponsors. There's so many of them at this point, I can't name them. So, but everybody puts on a lot of work into this, and they do a good job, and makes for some good, clean, fun racing.
It certainly does indeed. Here, as you come away today, Jackson, congratulations on the second place finish, sir.
All right, thank you.
Aaron Action Jackson going to take it home here in a second place spot, but the man that sets the gold standard again, he's got it in his nickname, ladies and gentlemen, Aaron Smith wins it here in Richmond. And Smith, I don't even know how many wins at this point you've got in the season. All I know is you just continue to thrive at pressure times, and the defense really has shown itself here today with you in the 70 camp today.
Yeah, I think this is my 9th win now, so hopefully I'll be able to continue that momentum throughout the rest of the season. But it was a fun race overall. It was a little messy there in the middle of the race, but the long runs we had at the beginning and end of the race were certainly really fun. And to be able to save fuel and have that play a factor was certainly it was a nice little addition.
That certainly was indeed. Now I know one of the tough parts though about that, what you just mentioned there, was literally where you went from the corner end and off the outside of that run there. How difficult was it just having to maneuver through traffic, especially considering what these guys were trying to play on you there in that final stage?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I knew that the guys in the top 5 would intake tires there in that last pit stop were going to have a hard time. Unfortunately, I was able to cut through them all there in turn 1, so got out of there without any major damage and was able to continue on and win it.
For sure there. Well, nevertheless, though, Smith, as you're going to walk away today with this win and the ninth of the time, who do you want to thank you for this one?
I'd like to thank everyone at the GOAT Racing League for putting the show on, all the folks who've raced tonight for putting on a solid show. It was a fun race from beginning to finish. Like I said, we had a few cautions, but the racing was pretty solid up front. Had our comers and goers, and they were all pretty strong. So I'd like to thank them for that, and you for broadcast, and all the folks for watching. Looking forward to getting back at it next week.
We appreciate coming on board here, Smith. Congratulations on your win, and welcome back on as well, sir.
All right, thank you.
Well, he can't seem to leave us alone. He can't seem to stop putting it up into victory lane, race fans. He takes another one home here on the show. Well, that's really about going to do it here, folks. Another strong showing from the Go Racing League as we finish it out here in Richmond. For those that tuned in, we want to say thank you so much to everyone that tuned on in. Carol, thanks for the clarification as well there. And thanks to everyone that always tunes on to these tracks to race. Appreciate seeing you guys out here again. And until we see the green flag fly next time out Saturday night, we'll see you then.